Time to hop into the world of big board one more time, where we got NFL rookies here. Of course, we're going to talk about the guys we're trying to take right now. Who's going in the first round in mock drafts? We're going to figure it out. Of course, drafts already started here, so let's get over to it right now. Let's see what we got in this one. Of course, my laptop going off. A lot of little changes around the old splash play area here, so I hope you guys appreciate brand new graphics here. Of course, promo code SPLASH. For some reason, hold on, I'm on the wrong size thing. Hold on. There we go. Now it's even bigger. So the goal here was to get more screen area for you guys to be able to see draft stuff, the content I have, of course. The goal is also to make slightly prettier ads for myself. Also, brand new Discord here on Splash Play. Tried to be productive over this little NBA All-Star break because I had a little time to kind of look at things, take inventory of how the channel's working right now. Take inventory of the fact that Davis Maddox is kicking my ass. So I started the stream early today. He's also going at 11 o'clock today. But really at this point, just trying to get things in line here for a stretch run of drafts. Hopefully more big board content coming up here as we get through the renegotiation window with Underdog. But here we go. We got a sneak attack. Yes, I honestly just started the stream. Alex is also out in the living area, or the basement living area, because our cleaners are here. They come every couple of weeks, and then Alex moves down, and she subjects me to listening to her work calls right with no headphones on. It's really fun stuff. So I just figured I'd start the stream early. But I'm picking the 12 hole here, so we got a lot of time to stall up top. This is, I think, my 19th draft on the year, about 5 of which have been on stream prior to this one. So that's what you're getting here today. Really, the takes have remained the same here. Still think people a little bit too enthusiastic to click the rookies for the most part. The one that I've clicked the most so far, I think, remains Jalen Royals. A few are creeping up for me, though. Ashton Genty's coming in a few more. You will be able to see my exposures thanks to the best ball overlay tool here, which we'll get there. You can see I've spent $30 on Puka Nacua so far in the big board, 19% exposure. Nico Collins, 19%. Pretty flat overall for the most part, but have gotten a little more Ashton Genty, our man to thumbnail, and some of the stuff I've had lately. So that's how it looks. Oh no, you couldn't jump in a draft, a thing I don't want people to do anyway. How unfortunate for me. Spag Daddy, our guy Tyler here, who is grinding the preseason, the pre-preseason NFL draft process for our best ball drafting process. Tyler on Twitter doing a great job every day, so make sure to check him out as well, because he's posting little giblets of information over and over again. Do I plan on maxing it out? Unclear at this point. I would say probably not. Honestly, last year I got in about 70 entries. That ended up doing well enough for me here. I would like to do more because I did so well on the big board last year, but it's not a must-have. We're on the turn again. I think the last time I was on the turn on stream, I picked Genty and Achane. And that's still my preferred click here. But obviously, we do need to differentiate a little bit at some point, I guess. I wouldn't mind getting more Drake London. Do think Drake London showed enough down the stretch with Michael Penix, so we'll take the shot here. And so we will be the first pick off the board. And I like Genty at this point. I am even on Genty and Achane. I do think if we're looking for a real outlier year, I think Achane has a better shot. Would say that for the Dolphins, you're honestly kind of looking at a make or break year for Mike McDaniel and that team overall. Tyreek Hill coming back, I think it'd be better for Achane probably if Tyreek Hill weren't there at all. Making things potentially a little acrimonious. We'll see what happens throughout the year. But I would say at this point for Devon Achane, he's one of my favorite picks of this turn, even though it's a fun click to me to click Genty. And I can see the logic going to Derrick Henry again with the year he had, going to Christian McCaffrey, trying to get the bounce back with him being much cheaper. I think Achane to me in that group of 4 is probably your best RB pick, who showed, massive receiving upside last year, showed the touchdown equity. Raheem Mostert's already gone. Jalen Wright, I think at risk to take some more touches away than he had last year, but not really at risk, I think, to take a Mostert level workload. And I don't think they bring a rookie in who matters. Maybe they want a power back. I guess it'd be one thing that could upset Achane at the goal line. But I'm not sold on anything being, coming in at this point that would make Achane a less appealing play. So probably my preferred one right now. There you go. Charles in here. Appreciate Charles being in. And Charles, make sure. So if you are a member here, or if you're not a member yet, so a couple things you're going to notice down below. Number one, if you hit the join button, there are now 3 tiers. It's the same thing on the NBA channel, but I'll give you guys sort of the update here and how I'm trying to view things. Basically, I'm trying to prepare at this point, like, if my unabated deal went away tomorrow, if my Underdog deal doesn't come through in the way I want, just what I can do that's sort of people are asking for, people are trying to get. So you get my rankings now. You get 2 different versions of them. One, if you want to pay $25 a month, you get one that you can read. I'll give updates. I'll do little blurbs in there over and over again. That will also get you membership to the Discord. The $5 membership will do the same thing too. But basically, that's what you're getting for $25. Is you get my rankings as sort of like a readable Google sheet is the best way to put it. If you want to be able to use my rankings on Underdog, that's a $50 a month tier, and you'll get access to basically both things then. That's going to be the same thing for NBA. Or if you want to use my projections, it's going to be $50 a month. If you want to just see the data sheets that I use, $25 a month. And then $5 a month gets you the Discord. So that's the new outlay of the memberships here. I'm going to have to explain it a million times as the season goes on because it's a brand new thing. But basically, that's how I'm approaching it now, where basically it's a lot of work to do rankings and shit. It's also a lot of work to do projections. So trying to make it a little more worth my time if I'm going to do it and go, full ass into it. But frankly, like last year was so much work. The team review stuff was also like a lot of time and effort. I basically want to get to a point where like, I don't reply to DMs. I'm just on the Discord and I'm giving you guys updates and stuff for the things that you're hopefully getting some value out of in terms of the rankings for best ball and also for the projections for NBA. So that's the memberships you have now on this channel. NBA, they're also rolled out as well if you want to get on there too. But that's what you're getting for this year right now. So not fun to talk about in the video up top, but for the people who are regulars here, now you know in the beginning of the video what's going on. A lot of RBs being drafted here. 2 RBs for this guy, 2 RBs for this guy, 2 RBs for this guy, at least 1 RB for most of these players here, 1 for me. Does bring up a point that our guy Robert Griffin III, of course, one of the regulars in the YouTube chat, who's also on the Discord. He's posting the idea that he had basically, where when he does drafts, he's not going to do a ton of them, I think, in this big board time period right now. Basically, when he does start doing drafts, what he wants to do is like go extreme 0 RB, not take an RB, and then try to get a little more volume there, take 8 of them. I think this year, you don't have to do that. I think this year as well, you really don't have to you don't have to go crazy on taking a bunch of RBs either, but really at this point, taking 1 RB and making sure it's a good one or one you believe will be a good one, and obviously trying to move that around a little bit, balance your exposure and all of that. But like you can take 1 RB and you're still going to move away from people that are just straight up ignoring wide receiver. Like this guy is not going to take a wide receiver until at least round 4, and who knows if he's going to actually do it. You don't have to go so extreme on either end. And I think what people saw last year, we've talked about it a few times on the streams that we've done big board drafts on. And people's takeaway from last year is like, oh, I could do whatever and I'll have a good shot of winning. Receivers don't really matter. I could take them and that we know it's not how it works. So in reality, you're just going to have an edge by making sure you balance your capital right, that you get guys, enough receiver capital early, in addition to maybe 1 RB, 1 QB, 1 tight end. But like, I think this is a year to try to be more balanced and level-headed about it, because like, I think just bad drafting going on. Like you don't need Bijan and Josh Jacobs. And frankly, too, you run the risk this year of a guy like Josh Jacobs. Efficiency has been down for him for a few years. He certainly had better counting stats last year in Green Bay. But with them having a guy like Lloyd, if they want to take somebody else in the class, there'll be enough options in the 3rd and 4th round at RB. They can take pressure off Josh Jacobs if they want. I think there's a lot of just, I've said before in streams, and I'll say it here too, a lot of bad drafting so far I'm seeing in these drafts overall. And I think for you guys out there, like you're going to do the best by just drafting, continuing to stack, continuing to just do things normally, treat it like business as usual, because people are not doing that bare minimum of a part so far. We have 1 receiver with Drake London. We have 1 RB with Devon Achane here. We need at least 1 more receiver out of this group. I mean, Josh Allen falling here is not an unappealing thing to click. Zay Flowers, Devontae Smith. I think Zay's one of them for me. Maybe some vague concerns that the Ravens are going to take somebody else who upsets things a little bit for both Flowers and for Rashad Bateman. But for right now, I'm pretty comfortable taking Flowers here. QB wouldn't be bad, but we did box ourselves out of doing the Philadelphia stack. Devontae Smith wouldn't be bad here. Scoop Chase Brown had some values in drafts last night. And then Josh Allen is our discount, but I am going to go Devontae Smith. At this point, we just need a little more receiver capital in. We took our 1 early deviation at RB with Devon Achane. So we're going to try to get a little more comfortable here at receiver with London, Flowers, Devontae Smith, Devon Achane's RB. That's how it's looking right now. Our guy Chunk being here, got pump faked in the early start. Hope everyone's good. Yeah, look, it just is what it is. Videos are going to start when they start around here. Spags, unbutton the top. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you've unbuttoned the top of your shirt. Love to hear that. Do I think I'll be doing drafts on other platforms? Depends what the deal is right now. I'm planning to still do drafters this year. And frankly, drafters did pretty well with the playoff best ball stuff. So a little bit of bankroll to go around there. But I don't know yet. Honestly, I'm just waiting to hear when Underdog's going to make a deal with me on. It's really been frustrating, to be honest. And it's part of why, too, like I know the views are going to be a little bit lower today because of the fact that I haven't been as consistent as I was last year, which sucks. Like it's me. It's sort of the main thing here. But, waiting to see what the haul is. If they only want to pay me to do a draft once a week, then It's probably what it's going to be around here, and I'll do some drafters alongside that. Probably still no DraftKings, though. I just don't see a way that makes sense to me, time-wise and economically. Shout out to the GMs here. Yes, lots of big announcements going on here. I'm also just confused as to why this... Okay, it lines up right. I'm looking at the big circle for me now and my little ad thing. Of course, promo code SPLASH on Underdog, $1,000 deposit match on there, deposit bonus rather on there. Getting used to the new graphics for me too. It's a bigger draft board screen. That's a positive. Also could maybe zoom in more. Let me see. Does that make it better or worse? I would say fills more of the screen, but is that actually better? It's a real question. I feel like people want to see more of the draft, right? So we'll keep it like that. Yeah, Best Ball Overlay also updated their stuff too. I think you still have promo code SPLASH working for bestballoverlay.com as well. But basically what they have now is combinatorial ownership for your players, which I don't entirely know how it works, to be honest. You can see here they also have the ownership that you have, your exposure rather, the money you spent on guys. And then when I finally add a QB, they've also changed their stacking stuff. So there's a lot of good tools out there. The Best Ball Overlay tool is the one that I use. There's also the Sidekick, the Draft Caddy that our pal Brick has. They're all going to do functionally the same thing. Sidekick will do a little bit more though, so keep that in mind. Let's see. My PD Papa fan, yes, I do enjoy the whipping your shirt around like a helicopter. Thumbnail pic looks like I saw some big old titties. Yes, new thumbnail faces for me as well. So that'll be a fun thing to integrate here. I have like 7 of them. I took like 7 different photos, felt pretty good about, not pretty good about it. That one's definitely the most handsome. Like that one's now, you'll go full screen for a moment. This is now my Twitter pic and everything too. So I think it's a good pick for me. I think it works. But yeah, I have also, I think, a disgusted face. I have like an unsure, like a whoa, like step, but it just makes me look like kind of like a thumb. So I don't know that I'm going to use that one too often. I have a couple of wry faces. So that's what that was. This was from 10 years ago. No, it's from fucking the other day. Look at me. It's the same fucking face. What are you talking about? Maybe the joy in my eyes is not here today. Hearing a lot of streamers say Worthy is better than Terry at football, which is crazy to me. Thoughts? Are the other streamers Davis Maddock? I think that would sort of explain it. That's the only person really doing drafts time here. I know Pete did one, but look, Worthy is good. He's fast. I think your big concern for him is that, and it's the same for Terry McLaurin, honestly. Like I like McLaurin. Obviously, he's one of my big stands last year, but he's kind of the same thing. Year before last, Michael Pittman was one of my big stands. It worked out really well. He gets overpriced. I think Terry's overpriced. I think there's a decent chance they bring in somebody else. I'm not sold they bring in a big free agent. A lot of people out there have linked Chris Godwin to the Washington team, the Commanders. I almost said the R word. I don't know why. I never say the R word, but it almost came out there. But basically, linked Godwin going to them. I'm not sure that's going to be the case, but I think no matter what, they're going to bring in somebody who is sort of a threatening piece to Terry McLaurin's opportunity overall. So that's my concern, really. But for Worthy, it's the same thing. Like I've said it a few times here. I was really down on KC last year. I thought that KC did a very good job overall with making the most out of a team that didn't want to be aggressive on offense. But now you're in year 2, and it's like people have shit on your team for an entire season. You saw firsthand that you didn't have enough dogs to get you where you needed to go in the Super Bowl. I think this year they bring in another receiver who sort of threatens that Worthy opportunity a little bit. And, and getting Rashee Rice back for probably half of a year next year, that's going to hurt Worthy's outlay a little bit too. I just think the Worthy you saw at the end of the year, like he's still worth it. I actually even taken Worthy a good amount, but he's not any better. Gotten working on a deal to re-up with Tampa. I mean, that'd make the most sense for everybody, I would think. All right, we're on the clock here. 0130. I think Chris Godwin, if he goes back to Tampa, I'm not mad at it. Again, he only had an ankle injury too. It's not a knee, which I think in my brain gets a little bit conflated, I think, with his previous injuries. So we're going to go Chris Godwin for one of the picks, add another receiver in. I don't mind George Kittle, but he is getting a little bit old. Don't mind Kamara. Caleb Johnson to me, I would start to bump down a little bit. Kamara, you run the risk that Kellen Moore could overhaul things in a negative way, kick him out of there. Maybe bring in a guy like Kendre Miller for more work, bring in somebody else at RB who he likes more. But I think that for Kamara at this point, if we assume that he gets similar amounts of volume and it's just a better offense, which I think is going to be the case, with them bringing in, obviously, Kellen Moore, who I've always loved as a coordinator here. You guys know that if you follow the show for years. And also, Doug Nussmeier, the guy they're bringing in from the Eagles, was somebody out there. A lot of teams did want to sniff around at OC as well. He's been with Kellen Moore at multiple stops, so having kind of an internal continuity for them, I think, is a good thing. So I like the Saints a good amount here. I've talked about Olave before. He's now come up about 10 picks in ADP. I think he is worth going in the 50s. I could say, to me, he can get to the 40s, and I'm still comfortable with that click. Rashid Shaheed, one thing that jumped out to me, especially given how good Rashid Shaheed was, I was starting to put together my rankings because, again, we're going to launch rankings here on the channel. If you sign up now, you're probably going to get my first edition of rankings by the weekend, will be my guess, because Saturday I'll have some time in the morning to kind of polish them up. Basically, I was going through it. Rashid Shaheed is actually like a negative EPA guy last year. So despite as good as he was in fantasy, he actually really underperformed compared to the opportunity he had, because he was getting about 125 air yards per game. And even though it worked out well, he wasn't great with it. So I'm not sold that he maintains that same opportunity with Kellen Moore coming in, but I do think the offense is going to look good. And like Shaheed's got a shot. Olave's got a new shot at usefulness. I would ignore the concussion stuff as best you can. That's how it goes. Thoughts on Steph Diggs coming off the knee injury at his age, with getting less efficient as he goes. ADOT was down last year. I probably wouldn't go there. Let's see. I just started at like 10:45. It was a little bit early. Davis and Pete, just feel like it's saying about the worthy better than Terry thing. Crazy Alex Terry hasn't put up 1K for 6 years running while being the main focus of defense every game. Yeah, look, I think that he established himself more as a red zone threat last year than I would have thought was possible. I thought he was going to get there largely through, frankly, the plays that he didn't connect enough on. The 50-yard kind of bomb plays from Jaden to him, like those were there a lot of times throughout the year. And certainly they were not there in some games as much as they could have been. Obviously, he still connected on enough here. The year looked good, but like that's where I really thought he was going to have success. Instead, what he got there is like 3-yard slant routes, kind of rub routes. Like he was getting there in a lot of different ways to get touchdowns in. And I think that's an impressive thing. But I worry for him, like, I've said before, Trey Harris going to Washington. I like Trey Harris. I like Washington. Obviously, me connecting those things, not going to be crazy. I like that more as kind of an option. I would say, in terms of free agent wide receivers, I need to think about that a little bit. Let me pull up a list of free agent wide receivers. Like Higgins now, franchise tag. Seemed like he was going back to Cincinnati no matter what, but that kind of spot would be tough for McLaurin, like having another outside receiver who can also get red zone, end zone work. In this class, I mean, a Keenan Allen would materially upset things for Terry McLaurin. Does seem like Keenan Allen, I think, not going back to Chicago, which makes sense too, because Detroit, Ben Johnson in the past didn't run a lot of 3 wide receiver sets, or when he did, it wasn't like 3 high target earning wide receivers out there. Looking at this list, I'll share the tab here. Here's all your free agent wide receivers and their previous average annual value. I mean, really, you should look at just wide receiver. It's really not a lot in the free agent class. Like who here would materially upset things for Washington? So it has to be a rookie coming in, would be my thought. But I do think something comes in and kind of ruins Terry's outlay a little bit. Big reason why Terry was so valuable is just because like he got a crush of work, and I don't think he gets a crush of work moving forward, would be my guess. Darius Slayton be a good one. Darius Slayton's a good one. I actually take Darius Slayton a good amount in these drafts right now because of the fact that A, he's basically free, and B, he is one of very few legit outside receivers who could go to a team and be useful. Like, frankly, I don't think KC would make this kind of move, but like you put like Slayton on KC and you give him kind of deep shot targets, he'd probably do a lot better with them than the previous Justin Watson types. I would say, frankly, to me, I know people love Hollywood Brown out there. He really wasn't very good this year. In the limited time that he was out there, he would probably do better with deep targets than Hollywood Brown does. I would take a shot at Slayton. Slayton, too, being an elevated version of Quentin Johnson, the Chargers offense, I think wouldn't be crazy. Slayton or day 3 rookie, I'm taking Slayton. I know people link for Washington, Luther Burden to Washington a lot, which would make sense because he's like going to be a low ADOT guy. He hopefully does some stuff after the catch. Really don't think Luther Burden is like a very legit click. To me, he is kind of like better draft capital Malachi Corley from last year, which with much worse target earning in Missouri. So for Luther Burden, I'm not really sold on him being worth the draft capital. He goes out here, pick 77. But I think for a team like Washington, for like real life football, he would be a pretty good pickup, I think, for them. But it depends what you're looking for. Like, to me, my brain for football teams goes to like, what's a fit here that complements and doesn't overlap too much? And like football teams might just go like, hey, who's the best talented receiver here who's available? And Agluka would be fun for Washington as well, getting him in the slot. But you do have the investment there in McCaffrey from last year, so I don't know if they would take just like a pure slot. And we have a 0-2-4-0 build here. Nothing to do at QB unless you wanted to go Baker Mayfield's way, which would not be crazy. Do you like Baker? I'm going to take Baker with one of these picks. I like Bo Nix. I've gotten a little bit of Bo Nix already. Though I updated my exposure. I got Bo Nix last night. I don't know why that's not coming up. I mean, Jacoby Myers here, not a bad click. Josh Downs, I like a little bit more. Thought he showed some growth last year. I'm going to go Josh Downs. I've started to take Jacoby Myers a little bit more with Brock Bowers, but I don't think I've gotten much Josh Downs so far. So right now we have a 1-2-5-0 build. We have Baker Mayfield, Devon Achane, Alvin Kamara as our start here with the RBs. Drake London, Zay Flowers, Devontae Smith, Chris Godwin. You can see the stack here with Tampa Bay. And we have Josh Downs here. So we've got a 1-2-5-0 and feel okay about that. I think we're pretty well balanced. And this is what I'm talking about here is like, we still got enough receiver capital in. We got more in than a good amount of teams. Certainly some teams here are having similar amounts of wide receiver capital, but you're also seeing too, like this guy started 3, dialed off completely. This guy didn't take any receivers, then got to 3. Like you're just not seeing people get to the 5 receivers and 100 enough in draft rooms right now, which I do think is one of your edges theoretically. Let's see. Elijah Moore, Jalen Royal will be good for Washington. Jalen Royal would. Elijah Moore is dusty. I don't get the Jalen Moore love either. Elijah Moore to me was like barely anything in Cleveland. He only got there a couple times in part because of Jameson Winston just throwing 50 times a game and throwing recklessly. I think to me, Elijah Moore at this point, unless he gets like a nut free agency spot, which I don't know what that would be for him. I don't know what you're seeing in him. Look at the advanced analytics here a little bit. Elijah Moore, negative 0.4 EPA per target last year. That is awful. That's like really bad for a guy who's also not getting a ton of deep targets. He only averaged 9 air yards per attempt, 18% target per out run. He barely looks like a legit player. I don't know about that. You could play the side of Slayton not catching passes from Drew Lock and Daniel Jones. I mean, you got to remember that a couple years ago, 2 best ball seasons ago, rather, end of season with fucking Tommy Cutlets over there, Tommy DeVito. Slayton had some real outlier days. The issue for Slayton is just like the volume wasn't there last year with Neighbors. Like he needs to get, 5 to 7 targets a game. I would say 5. 5 feels about right. But like you want to have 2 of those be 20 plus air yard throws. I think that'd be okay. To be clear, I wasn't. I was never really team Elijah Moore. But that was also early in my best ball process too. So I can't really say. Garrett Wilson, though, I think probably a little bit underpriced right now. Seemed like at one point he's going to be traded from the Jets. Now I think it's more likely that he stays and is the guy they build around there because Devontae Adams not likely to be back with them squeezing out Aaron Rodgers. So Garrett Wilson, one guy who I think last year to me way overpriced at the 1-2 turn. I said that a million times on stream. This year, the price is different. He flashed a little bit more. I think Garrett Wilson, one of those guys, take the shot at the offense being better. Again, another team bring in Lions principles with the guys they've hired. Let's see. Slayton was good on deep balls. He sure was. Garrett's, I don't know if I'd say beautifully priced. He's better priced. Slayton can go outside the numbers. Gabe Davis and Buffalo type season for Slayton's very much in play on the right team. Sure, I agree. I mean, I will say for me, one thing that I've noticed for myself in previous years, like being a little too biased towards outside receivers and guys who are just good outside. And frankly, that's put me on some players that I don't think are the best. But that is still something that, like, I think matters. Like, you can't move every slot guy outside. Everybody wants to see that be the case. And our guy Adams in chat, but like Ladd McConkey was not as good outside as he was in the slot. Maybe that'll change over the course of his career with a guy who really started the year hot, started his career hot. But like in general, guys who are good in the slot are good in the slot. Guys who are good outside can sometimes play in the slot. But in general, like, you want them for their outside ability. Slade brings outside ability. He's one guy that's like never moved in the slot, or at least has been used that way. So you know what you're getting there. Gabe Davis is young. I don't think 25 doesn't feel right because he's on his second deal. Maybe you're right. 20. He is 25. Oh, he turns 26 in April. Okay. Still feels light. Christian Kirk's 28. Khalil Shakir's 25. That's kind of surprising. Came in young, I guess. Gabe Davis, though, I don't think dead either. Certainly, that's the one spot you would think Jacksonville tried to upgrade. Christian Kirk, you have a shot that could happen. Jacksonville, I think, is one of the more interesting teams. There's something the chat asked earlier, and I don't think I got a chance to get to it in the flow of things. My Trevor Lawrence thoughts. Said it a few times on stream so far, but Jacksonville to me is one of my favorite teams to buy right now. The price tags have gotten a little bit, I mean, they're still soft. Like they're a little bit less appealing than they were before. But I think that Trevor Lawrence, to me, stacked up with Brian Thomas, if you can get it, great. If you're getting him with Christian Kirk, I think you take that shot right now. Still a decent chance that they could move on from Kirk, but at great cost to the team. So not sold how that would go. We have a 1-2-5-0 build here. I think a decent pocket for an RB. So Travis Etienne, DeAndre Swift, I'm flat with these guys. I'm going to take one of them here. And I think that one is Etienne. I like Etienne here. He was a lot cheaper when the big board opened. Still think he's at an okay price tag in the 100s. We got one more pick here, of course, picking on the turn. Najee Harris, you get a shot at a decent free agent outcome. Also a shot that he could go into like a more of a committee thing. David Njoku, we do need a tight end. You are going to see more of a horizontal West Coasty offense in Cleveland this year with the changes they made. So I think Njoku works. I think especially if they got a Cam or Shador, it would work. But if they get Cousins, that works too. I would guess, and there's a chance they can move on from one or both guys. I would say that you're probably getting these guys competing for a Bucky and a Rachaad White kind of share. My thought would be that Bigsby remains the goal line power back, but Etienne gets probably the pass protection work and has a shot to get just more upside overall and a better offense. I'm not a big Etienne guy, but you got to remember this is a guy that was going in the 40s last year. Him at 108, like he's going around guys that are kind of journeymen / committee backs. I think you take the shot on Travis Etienne no matter what. And if he goes somewhere else, they're probably acquiring him with some hope that he's going to change their backfield. He was pretty shitty last year, was Etienne. Obviously, the whole team was. But Etienne, negative 0.1 EPA per rush, negative 0.05 EPA per pass. 8% avoided tackle rate, like no juice for a guy who should be all juice. He's not a great player for the record, but again, I just believe in the Jacksonville opportunity overall. Do you not think Kirk hurts BTJ's value? No. I don't think he's the worst first pick on the board. He was great last year. He got the volume increase last year in part because of the fact that obviously Kirk was out, everybody else was gone. But he also got there like in a stupid offense because of that. Now you have a smart offense coming in. Your worst case scenario for Brian Thomas is you're going to get him in a Mike Evansy kind of role, which we saw be fairly functional last year. But I think more likely you're going to get Liam Cohen building the entire offense around Brian Thomas. He's talked already about wanting to move Thomas in the slot a little bit. Obviously, how much that happens, I'm not sure. But, you know, especially if they have Kirk, and like Kirk, I think is a lot of dead money if they move on from him. And if you even got rid of Kirk, you still have Parker Washington there who might flash enough to maybe talk, Liam Cohen into using him more. But I'd say the spot for me, no matter what, Brian Thomas' situation is better. Do I play in the smaller contest? No, I'm just doing the big board. I mean, honestly, for me, it is mostly BBM a big board. I know there's probably more EV just based on how drafts went last year if I do more volume, but this is part of how I keep it fun for myself is like doing less volume and only the big tournaments. So I probably will be similar this year, depending on, again, if Underdog is like, hey, you have to do 500 drafts this year, and for us to pay you the money you want to get, then then all bets are off. But we'll see. I'm going down to the wire here. Really was hoping we'd have our Underdog or my Underdog deal done by this point, but unfortunately, we're just not there yet. Different coach and GM than the group who paid him, Christian Kirk. It's still a lot for Kirk. It's still a lot of dead money. I think it's like 25 million dead money. Like if you're going to move on from somebody, I just don't know that's where you want to do it and why you would do it. It was almost a positive take. That's true. For everybody tuning in right now, again, we're getting our dick kicked in by Davis Maddox stream. So don't go over there, guys. I'm going to be here, probably do one more draft as well. We'll see how this ends up here. Guys, the important announcements up top. Number one, new VIP Discord here for the Squirt Squad. Obviously, the old one, I'll keep it on Pete's Deposit Kingdom stuff as long as he wants to keep that going. But I basically wanted to have a way, be able to put my projections out, be able to make it a little more functional for what I'm trying to do as opposed to something attacked onto somebody else's stuff. So new Discord there. You'll keep your Squirt Squad Deposit Kingdom access, but check the link in the description. It's pinned in the chat as well. Then basically there, if you join for $5, you get access to the entire Discord. If you join for one of the data packages, getting my rankings, either the readable version for $25 a month or the exportable version that you could use in Underdog, and I'm planning to do it for DraftKings and Drafters too at some point. Basically, you get that for $50. So those are your two new deals here. If you want more from me, you can get it. And I'll even reply to your DMs. You're paying $50 a month. If you're paying me $5 a month, no. I'm done. Just trying to keep the work is sort of the hope now. But really, for me, one of the things, and it's no respect, people might think it's them. I just don't want to reply to people that don't that are just on stuff for free anymore. To their question, I just don't want to do it. It's basically how I feel about the work at this point because I have so much shit to do in a given day to keep prepped up for NFL and NBA. So if you want access to me, the Discord is going to be the best way to do it moving forward. So check it out. It's in the comments. If you are already a member here, you already have access. So go test it for me, please, because I didn't tell anybody in advance. I'm the only one on it right now. Me and the Discord bots are the only ones on it. People can't get enough Chiefs talk. It's true. Look, if you want the edge on Chiefs, the other channels out there that'll give it to you, I'm sure. Shout out guy Bindles being here. Appreciate it. Yes, did shave the sides and back here. This guy Charles loading up on QBs here. It's a lot of QB, bro. It's a lot of QB. I see people do this a lot too. This is like people taking 3 QBs in this range very frequently. I get it's tempting, but AR goes 20 picks cheaper often enough. I don't get that one. Stephon Diggs looking really cheap here. 30 picks after ADP. That feels like the time you take a shot. I do want Rico Dowdle to be one of these picks though. Our guy Tyler actually tweeted out, pointing out that it's kind of unlikely Dallas to take a first round RB unless they're really stupid, and they are really stupid. So that's that. But if they don't bring another RB in, Rico Dowdle was a monster at the end of last year. I think no matter what, he's getting a timeshare for himself on the team now. So I'm going to go with Rico Dowdle as my first pick. We do need a second QB. AR would have been logical if we didn't get sniped on him. I think I'm just going to go T-Law here and be done at QB for now. Well, yeah, for now, being the operative word. Team so far is a 2-4-5-1. So we have Lawrence stacked up with ATN technically. Baker Mayfield, Trevor Lawrence are our QBs. The Liam Cohen tree expanding for me. Devon Achane, Alvin Kamara, Travis Etienne, Rico Dowdle. That is a nice, well-balanced RB room. I like that room. Again, I think we got enough receiver capital in, and we still got our RBs in. This is what I'm talking about, trying to approach things and not as much of a zero RB whore. Drake London, Zay Flowers, Devontae Smith, Chris Godwin, Josh Downs, and David Njoku at tight end. Like this team. Think taking Shador or Cam Ward would make sense to try to pair that for the Browns if that does happen. Not sure that that's going to happen yet. I've not done any early drafts on drafters. I have to follow up with them, though, because I do want to do some on stream. So hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. Yeah, it's really easy to get into the Discord. Check it out. And again, if you're already a member on here, you get access. And if you want the stuff like my data, actually my projections you could use, they're going to be updated throughout the night as well. So I'm committing to it whole hog here. Figured out my time outlay for everything. So check that out. That's my bet as well. Cam Ward's the Giants, but obviously you have 2 teams ahead of him that both need QBs. So no guarantee there. And also people could trade there if they wanted to get ahead of the Giants. I think there's a world where Shador goes 3 and they talk themselves into it. But based on how Brian Dable likes to run an offense, a mobile QB is going to take downfield shots. Cam Ward is much more of his type. Whereas to me, Shador is much more the Cleveland type. Accuracy, check down throws, that kind of stuff is where Shador is going to excel. Let's see. Checking all the chats. On the clock at what? Do you think I was going to get to this? Come on, man. I don't know. Pick any player. I don't fucking know. What is it? It's not even a super chat. You want me to do that much brain work? Get out of here. Look at the ADP as an underdog. Take whoever be the highest ADP guy there. Use market data for yourself. Promo code SPLASH and Underdog, $1,000 in bonus cash. Check it out for yourself. If you're not, for some reason, you're watching drafts in February and you're not an Underdog, boy, are you right in the market where we need you to be. Go check them out. $1,000 in deposit bonus / bonus cash when you do sign up there. For promo code SPLASH. Link in the description for that. And check out Unabated as well. New terms on their deal, 20% off with promo code SPLASH and Unabated. If you want better betting data, pick'ems and all that stuff, regular sports books, Unabated, check it out. Link in the description. And Stochastic, we are back in action here. DFS going off, PGA, NBA, NASCAR, MMA, it's all going. So check it out on Stochastic, 15% off with promo code SPLASH on there. Ooh. 3 ad reads require water. It's just a rule. Oh, you're welcome for nothing. I'm sorry I didn't give you free advice about your draft that I can't see. The entitlement. This is fucking why. This is why, guys, if I don't get paid to do drafts, I'll just do it on my own. I know it's respect. Love you guys. Whatever. Unfucking believable. Whew. They pay $50 for rankings. You can import them to your dynasty league. Fuck out of here. That's a mute. That's a 5-minute timeout. People will steal your joy if you let them. I mean, long time between picks here. I've been getting so many fucking 12-hole spots. I'm no longer influential because I'm not doing drafts every day. But I'm getting like constant 12-hole, 11-hole whenever I am doing a big board team. It does get a little bit tedious. I'd like some 101s. Apparently not. Apparently not. I gave him the 5-minute timeout. A little bit of a warning shot instead of the full. I'm sure he'll dislike the video, though. Really, you can't fucking win. Anyway, 2-4-5-1 build here. We've got our 2 QBs. Could add a third at some point if we need to, but not a necessity. Travis Hunter, people getting very spooked off by the combine testing at a cornerback, which is really just the filing thing more than it is anything that matters for what a team will actually do when they have his rights. Which doesn't mean you have to take Travis Hunter, but I've only taken him once so far, it looks like. All right, Hunter goes. I would have been happy to take him there. Isaiah Bond is going to be fast. We do know that. Really another point where I wish we didn't get sniped on AR because we could have gone Alec Pierce here, and that would have been logical as well. I'll take a shot on Bond. I know Bond's going to test fast. I don't know that he's good enough based on the small sample size we have. I think Matthew Golden's going to be your better Texas receiver, but fast is fast. Could get draft capital. And we've got a little bit of a Cleveland bet here. Trey Benson as a lever against James Conner, I don't mind. Rachaad White does technically correlate, but there's a chance he doesn't go back to Tampa Bay, I feel like. This is a tough spot. I'm going to go White just for the correlation. Don't feel great about it, but Rachaad White at 150 is a lot different than Rachaad White last year at 70. And frankly, still did pay off a couple weeks there with him at 70. So let's give the team a read. It's a 2-5-6-1 build so far. We got Baker Mayfield, Trevor Lawrence. I did think about Cam Ward a little bit here, but I'm not sure he's going to correlate with Cleveland stuff. Devon Achane, Alvin Kamara, Travis Etienne, Rico Dowdle, Rachaad White. So a 5 RB room here. All guys who've had roles. Definitely not rookie heavy, but the rookies, I've said enough times, I think are mostly mispriced. Drake London, Zay Flowers, Devontae Smith, Chris Godwin, Josh Downs, and Isaiah Bond, our lone rookie here because he's fast, and fast will get you draft capital. And David Njoku is tight end. So not like a super sexy team, but frankly, I think these are the teams that look the best to be in the big board so far. Middle of the board seems most fun this year. Yeah, I mean, you also get some more followers at that point. I want to go to the corner score to get a $ hat. What color? You have to go to Amazon to do that. And it's not limited in options. No pink, unfortunately. At least that I'm aware of. If there were pink, I'd probably be wearing it. At least if you have fast, you have a chance to play. That is true. Taking more Bond. He's cheaper pre-combine. He'll go fast. Yes, he absolutely will. He might run in the 4.2s. 2 guys in this draft, I think, have a shot to do it. Him and Travis Hunter supposedly ran the 4.2s at some point during testing earlier in his career. We'll see. But those guys, at the very least, 4.3 guys. Which, again, is why I don't know if you're a team drafting him. I don't know why you don't end up with Travis Hunter playing some receiver for you. I think that'd be malpractice. He doesn't need to be Shohei Ohtani, but partial Shohei Ohtani. I do still have the jacket, but frankly, it was tight on me about 20 pounds ago. So I think it's probably still tight on me now, or more tight on me now, but it's upstairs somewhere. I don't even remember the context of why I wore it that one time. I think to annoy Josh. I don't know what. I think that was it. Usually that would be the context back in the day. Hey, some guys picking. Let's look at the ADPs for a moment here. So Sam Darnold, I think the most likely outcome for him is going to Vegas. I think we could say that. Shedeur Sanders, still think him going to Cleveland makes the most sense based on the style of team and play and all that. Him going to the Jets, I think could be logical as well. Accuracy based QB, as I've mentioned enough times on here, hopefully. And if you haven't watched the rookie previews, still enough time to do that and get some value out of it. Shedeur Sanders, a lot more accurate in college than I would have thought. Not as athletic in college as I think people assume he is because he's Deion's kid. In reality, he just didn't run very much. When he did run, he wasn't very good with it. Cam Ward didn't run very much. When he did, he was good with it. So for Shedeur, I think he's still an interesting prospect, but I don't think the prospect people think he is. Yeah, I think it's just people not really doing the legwork at this point. Go to Titans, I don't think so. I mean, if he does go 101, they've given so much smokescreen for it, which I don't think is what you would do. Think Hunter will get hurt if he tries to play both sides? Why? What would be the logic for it? What does it benefit you to think that he's going to get hurt? Like, if you think he's overpriced at 100, I would agree with that. But I think at a certain point, it depends what range he gets to. But if he's going around, I don't know. I'm trying to think what range he would have to go around for me to feel like he's in a good spot. I mean, here he went around Isaiah Bond. I think that's more than fair. I still think Wicks is undervalued at this point. Wicks last year, a no-fly zone to me. Wicks this year, I don't think they listened to Josh Jacobs and bringing a receiver over the top of these guys. I think they try to go out there, at least in camp, with Wicks, Dobbs, and Reed, obviously with Christian Watson likely out for the year. Wicks to me undervalued. But I think Hunter being in this range, like, frankly, I think taking a shot on Hunter as reasonably good as taking a shot on Hollywood Brown, who has now failed out of 2 jobs and is a free agent, and he's fast enough to get one more contract, but like, is he actually good? I don't really know that we have the answer to that. Jalen Royals is here. I'll up my ante on him a little bit here. Probably one of my most drafted guys so far, and that'll continue. We need a second tight end. Harold Fannin, probably the most fun one here. Grendo, contingent value at this point for sure. Braylon Allen could win over a new coaching staff. But I think we take Zach Ertz here. As much as I was a Ben Sinnott guy last year, and I'm sure I'll find my way to some Ben Sinnott this year, I don't know how you wouldn't bring back Zach Ertz with the year he had. If you're Washington, you pay him $10 million, he'll come back and be happy. And at some point, he should get displaced, I would hope. But he didn't get displaced in the playoffs. He ended up being their most important target. So Zach Ertz at 181, I think is too cheap. And frankly, if he goes to another team, they're probably bringing him in also because he's a vet who's going to get target work right away. So I think Zach Ertz, not in a no-fail spot because he's old and whatever. But Zach Ertz works for me. I mean, I think you're not, again, it's not a controversial take to say teams are going to play Travis Hunter mainly on defense, but you think you're going to benefit more, especially if he goes in the 150 range. You're taking a shot that you get the other outcome. Tested the Discord chat, saw it worked, then deleted said test Discord chat after Thank you for that. I hope it wasn't actively porn, but yes, there are. I did put in rules in the Discord. Go check it out if you are a member here. Even if you're not a member, you can click the Discord. You can go in there. You just won't be able to access any of the channels. But check it out. It's pinned in the chat right now. And of course, $5 entry will get you the Discord. If you want data and some of the stuff that I'm putting together, then it's more money. But check it out for yourself. Didn't click Ertz last year, mistake, and had a hard time getting him this year. Yeah, I mean, same. Same. I don't have a hard time getting him this year. I think he's there around the 180s pretty often. It is a little bit tough to take really old Zach Ertz when you have a young, exciting weapon, Harold Fannin, who to me grades out as like your one tight end that Does something that very few tight ends do in terms of target volume, in terms of upside. He's also a little bit younger too, which is a positive for him. But would say that for Harold Fannin, I think he's worth shots. But Zach Ertz being too cheap. Cole Kmet at this range, like you can go there too. Hope he gets a little bit of a glow up from Ben Johnson being here. Shout out Brett. Good morning. First time watching live. I appreciate it. Hey, look, I'm here. Lives, hopefully you'll get more frequent soon. I just need Underdog to come to fucking terms with me. But more coming out here from the channel. No matter what, I'll be at least doing one a week for now. At a certain point, I'm going to ramp up more. But, you know, it's been, frankly, a little bit of a getting my mind right here after a lot of work down the home stretch NFL season. Having a lot of kid duty with Alex out of town for 2 weeks. And also having the just the crush of NFL for a fucking year. So, but hey, I was really productive this week. I'm gonna tell you guys, you might not notice it from the minor changes, but like stuff like this, getting the screen bigger, making new ads, like it actually takes a lot of work to make it look good. At least for me as like a relative novice. Harold Fanning and Broncos. Why would that be a match made in heaven? That doesn't feel like a match. Colson Loveland's the guy they're linked to the most. I take some Nix and Loveland for that reason, or I have taken rather. I don't think Fannon's a fit for them at all. He doesn't do anything they want to do. They need a blocker. They want somebody who can block and run and catch passes. Like they want the quintessential Joker role that they seem to look for every year. That's what they want out of a tight end. Like Tyler Warren's much more that guy. Infinitely more. Colson Loveland's not really that guy either, to be honest, but he's more likely to be available where Denver picks. Juwan to Denver? Maybe. I think Juwan gets a decent outcome in free agency. But I don't know. He really wasn't that good last year. Like Juwan was a guy that obviously was a big part of my portfolio because he was free for the entire part of the draft cycle last year. Even though he was going to play from week 1 and he did. But he wasn't very good. He had a couple outlier games later on, but even then they weren't as good as they were in the past. I don't know. Maddox sells pipe dreams to everyone. Hey, more power to him. It's working for him. All right. Wish this guy would make us. I really thought I was going to get to pick right now. There we go. You got it. All right. We got a 2572 here. Mike Gesicki, Joe Burrow wants him back at Cincinnati. We don't mind that. Tyler Higbee, I think at this point would not be a bad pick either. A guy who the Rams really went nuts on targeting late. Javian Sanders, year 2 bump for him. Out of these 3, who do I like the most? I think I like Higbee the most. He's old, but legit had like a 30% target share coming back in. So I'll take that look here. And then we have one more pick. Another RB would work. Not a lot appealing in this range. Jordan Mason is now a handcuff to a handcuff, I would think, with Garendo Paskin. I'm going to go Gabe here. Wow, harsh critiques. Look, for what it's worth, I DM'd Davis because I was like, I think we would do a good collab show because I think that we don't agree on stuff. So, look, I would love to have Davis here or do a home and home or whatever at some point. But I think that to me, the hard part of this job is telling people they don't want to hear. But maybe that's why I'm just on a treadmill for views. I don't know. But it's an interesting point. I honestly never thought of it like that. But I think your job as like any sort of gambling expert, is to tell people the yes of an outcome, the no of an outcome, how you feel about it, and then they can land where they land. But different stuff for different people. And look, for what it's worth, like I'm not putting in the work so far this year. Like Davis says, like last year I put in the work. I did more drafts than anybody ever did on stream. Davis is gonna fucking break that by like May. So, more power to him. Yeah, no, Davis loves rookie RB class. I think there's a lot of great counting stats to the RB class. Fox seems to benefit from the giving yes shit. I mean, look, maybe I should just change who I am as a person. Start telling people what they want to hear. I'm like the opposite of a people pleaser. Like I go with the flow for the most part in like most aspects of life. But I'm never the person who just sits back and goes like, that's a great idea, man. Like, like in Football Outsiders when I was there, like the senior management initially, who all got fired before I ended up running things. Like, it's just a bunch of incompetence. And I would try really hard, like, diplomatically as the young guy in the room who also still had a VP title. Like, I would go in and go like, yeah, like, I don't think this is a good idea, but here's like, I think here's what we could try to do. Or like, I wouldn't even say I don't think this is a good idea. Like, well, what about this instead? And it's like, people sometimes are just they're gonna crash into the glacier no matter what. I think people displeaser. That must be it. Whatever, man. All you can do is be yourself. That's it. Watch enough children's shows to know that. Read enough books. Who do you think that one guy ended up drafting? I don't know. The guy earlier in the chat. I don't know. I don't even know what he's talking about. Like, what did he expect me to know? Know the ADPs of all his guys at his very specific league? Really bizarre. We're at the point of a draft, by the way. Like, some of these dudes are not going to matter. This guy taking Sean Tucker, and round 18 is a little bit aggressive, but like, Baishul Tootin is, I don't even know how you say the guy's name, not a dude. Rashard Smith, not really a dude. Jordan James at least has some Oregon juice stats looking. If you squint your eyes, maybe you can talk yourself into him being the poorest man's Bucky Irving. But like, it's just, this is such a nowhere zone here. And people just want to take new names. Like, legit, take Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker is a better click than all these rookie RBs right here. Because you know what? If they get rid of Rashad White, or if Rashad White wants out or something, I don't know. Like, Sean Tucker is stepping into a power back role here that he put up 30 points in a game last year. This is me. This is me being a people displeaser, telling you, like, I don't think anybody's doing anything smart here. It's the name of my game. Najee Harris sounds great. No, there I mean, every player sounds great. If you like them, they sound great. I mean, that's functionally what I believe. Like, I still would tell you how I feel about a player if I think they suck. But like, if you think a player is great, take them. I don't know. I think everybody wants to be gritty. Like, everybody wants to be hit him with the gritty guy who just takes like 70% of players and like loaded up an RB and didn't take wide receiver or whatever, and then took fucking 50% of every wide receiver he did take. And it's like, no, just balance your portfolio. Try to have some read on guys that think aren't going to be as good. But even for me last year, like, I fucking nailed some takes. Nailed the Jets offense being shit and not going anywhere. Few other ones that I can't think off the top of my head that I got right. But like, the things I didn't get right stuck with me, where it's like, oh yeah, Cincinnati being a fucking shit show, got that right. But then the offense was still good. So like, what's the point? Just try to come up with who you think is the best player in each offense and why they're going to be good, and what the coach is going to do that's different if it's a new guy coming in. I know that rant really had a bow in it the way I would like to have, but just a lot of bad drafting this year. And I think it's up to you guys to do less bad drafting, would be my hope. Speaking of bad drafting here, I think we'd use another RB. Jordan Mason, again, I just don't really think is a pick this year, but 30 picks after ADP doesn't feel bad. But I'm going to take Jaleel McLaughlin. I'm against some estimate. Obviously, I like Audric Estimate in year 2. McLaughlin, though, coming back most likely, so no reason to not be there. And taking Ramondre a decent amount as well, because New England, no matter what they do, is going to want to run. They're very much at risk to bring in a rookie who displaces Ramondre or Gibson, or both. Obviously, most likely be the case. But I'm going to go Gibson here. So there's one more pick. I don't think we need 7 RBs here, but I feel okay at the other positions. We have a 2-7-8-3 build. We got Baker Mayfield. Trevor Lawrence is my QBs. Devon Achane, Alvin Kamara, Travis Etienne, Rico Dowdle, Rashad White, Jaleel McLaughlin, and Antonio Gibson. Just a little more volume here. I don't know we needed it really, but Rashad White definitely needed one more, so why not take 2? Drake London, Zay Flowers, Devontae Smith, Chris Godwin, Josh Downs, Isaiah Bond, Jalen Royals. If you're going to take 2 rookies right now, I think those are the 2 to take relative to ADPs. Jalen Royals is going to run the 4.3s, and he's legit good. Isaiah Bond might run the 4.2s. He's not very good, but he's fast. Gabe Davis still hanging on in Jacksonville. And at tight end, vet heavy here. David Njoku, then later capital is Zach Ertz, Tyler Higbee. I think we take whatever we want with the last pick here. Some of us just got stuck in our ways. I even drafted Isaiah Spiller. That's tough. Spiller last year, you could talk yourself into in the early part of things. Gritty's trying to change his ways. I don't know enough. I don't see him. Gritty's so funny. If you want to tell me how, I'm happy to hear it. It's even funnier as the people that comment on his tweets telling him that his drafts suck. Oh, that's mean. He does get abused pretty regularly, I guess. So That's the name of the thing here. Anyway, that's our team. I guess against my normal good wishes, you know what? As part of a new year, new me thing, and to help encourage you guys to sign up for the Discord, I'll give you guys a friends and family draft. I've not entered the room yet. You can enter along with me on the big board. $10 entry fee here, $250K to first place. Of course, last year I did advance about 35% of my teams and did also have 3 finalists. So you're giving me your money if you enter this draft, but I'll give you the chance to give me your money. 5 spots left. I know, Adam. I know. I was trying to sneak into another tab, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just do it that way. I plan things on the... I plan things. I come up with things on the fly here. That's how it goes. We got one more spot left here. 1 of 1 is Splash Play under Spags Reign. Thank you for that. Tyler, the longest reigning member here. He and Robert Griffin the Turd. I forget who's technically first, but been here for a moment here. Thank you, Charles. Appreciate you being here. Guarantee Alice this one. Probably. All right. To be clear, I didn't request. I offered. But yes, I'll give you. This is one of my things. I'll give you guys friend and family drafts. I prefer you guys give me space when I'm not giving you a friend and family draft. But I'll give you guys some more on stream here. We still got one more spot just filled. There we go. Let's see where we're going here. 2-hole. There we go. We got some regulars here. We got Chunk. We got Al Boogie. Chad Candles, I presume, watching quietly. Was once a paying member. Now he's not. Go AZ Cards. MN Bass, I think, might be in the chat. KY Bengals, I know the name. Anyway, if you're in chat, feel free to declare yourself. And if you're in chat and you snipe me, I'll fucking come after you. Though, honestly, I let Charles get away with taking AR from me last draft, so mellowing out in my old age. Honestly, I think it's also because when you do it every day and when you get sniped every day, there's a lot less joy to be had from getting sniped. That's what I'll say from my experience. I don't know if Davis shows it as much as I do, but like, that's what really wears on you, is getting sniped every fucking day. Fixing my 2-year-old SpaghettiOs. Catching. Oh, there you go. They said fisting. I was like, oh, okay. That's aggressive. Rod Bender, MN Bass. There we go. Shout out Rod here. Ended up in a Spagsy draft. There we go. All right. Hope it goes well for everybody in here. One big board I drafted last year was my best team for the record. Hate to say it. Well, there you go. My greatness rubbed off on you in that one. Let's see what we get here. Again, I've been building so balanced lately. I feel like I'm a little bit less immune to sniping this year, but I say that now, of course, it's going to fucking ruin me here. Saquon, Bijan, Gibbs. Really, nothing that screams out here. I did put like fun rookies only in the title of the video, so it'd be nice to get like a more fun rookie draft, but I don't think we're going to do it here. Do we have to? Do I have to do this? Saquon, Hero RB build, yeehaw. Whatever the opposite of a jersey. Putting that on here. Take it off for Saquon. One thing I will say, preview of my ranks, which I've already started. I've got through like the top 40 at this point. And again, ranks, if you want my ranks here, $25 to read them. Join down below. It's a membership tier down below. $50 if you want to use them on Underdog and later on the draft cycle on Drafters and DraftKings. Check it out. I have CeeDee Lamb really low. I have CeeDee Lamb at the 1-2 turn right now. He goes 6 here to KY Bengals. I think CeeDee Lamb was awful last year. I was looking through the numbers. He had a 30% target per run rate, which is good. Negative 0.15 EPA per target for CeeDee Lamb, I believe, is where he landed last year. CD was really inefficient. And then, oh, you know what? That's wrong. 0.1 EPA per target. So still really bad, but not as bad as I had off the top of my head. CeeDee Lamb, though, was not really good last year. And the big thing for me with Dallas, they're getting such a huge downgrade in offensive coordinator and coach. Brian Schottenheimer, when he's had the chance to call an offensive forward, which he was not calling Dallas's offense last year, it was all West Coast offense shit. It was all like check down, low A-dot stuff, and a run-dominant approach, which I think will be fine for Rico Dowell, whoever they have at RB, but I don't think it's going to be good for the pass game. And the second part is the guy they hired as offensive coordinator, which is, what the fuck is his name? Adams? So I have to put together everybody's names here because there's a lot of guys that are like not retreads this year, which is positive. Clayton Adams is it with a K. Clayton with a K if you're looking him up. So Clayton Adams basically like all offensive line coach work before this. they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball a lot, and they're going to run the ball hopefully efficiently. They're not going to pass well or creatively. So CeeDee Lamb wasn't great last year. They probably bring in another receiver who threatens his target share a little bit. And also, the coach isn't good. The offensive coordinator's not good. I don't know what you're getting with Dallas. Still feel free to take them, but really do believe that you got to go like 1-2 turn for CeeDee Lamb more than pick 6. I think you should be behind Puka. I think you should be behind Nico. I think you should be behind Neighbors. I think you should be behind Amon-Ra. I think you should be behind Brian Thomas. I think it gets closer with Drake London, and frankly, I still like Drake London more. I think what he showed with Penix was he was the alpha guy for Penix at the end of last year. So CeeDee Lamb to me would be like an active fade for me so far. Not sure they did trade for Target Hog. Yeah, Target Hog Mingo going to really rise in year 2. I'm not. I don't keep a queue, so you're fine. But I'll make sure not to say it out loud, Charles. Thank you for the heads up. Am I dumb about wanting to be most exposed to Puka in round 1? I wouldn't say dumb, but he's not a better pick than some of the other ones. I mean, Nico, you're getting the shot here that Diggs doesn't come back, or if he does come back, it's on a cheap deal, and he's probably not the same guy anymore. Tank Dell likely to miss, I would say, probably all of the year, if not the vast majority of the year. I would think Houston doesn't bring back Diggs because I think they take a rookie, but the rookies in this class don't worry me about Nico Collins' target share, so I want Nico. Puka I want because he was great last year. Now you have Cup gone, or assuming we're going to have Cup gone. Neighbors, I think, looks good. Like, they're all really good in that range. One guy who's falling in drafts a little bit I've seen lately, but I still do like is Bucky Irving here. So I have no issue taking him. Taking a receiver at this point would feel pretty good. But fuck it, I'm taking Bucky. We'll see what Charles does here. I think I'm pretty good with either Trey McBride or one of these 3 receivers on the next pick, so he can do whatever he's going to do. But I like Bucky in the spot. I have seen Bucky go at 40 in a draft room lately, which I honestly don't get at all. You can't put up 1,500 yards in a split workload, and people just don't fucking respect you. Drives me nuts. We got Barkley and Bucky here. T. Higgins is wide receiver. My watching fantasy flock, it's just the ADPs and where they are. And I think no matter what, I think Charles is probably going to take 2 receivers there anyway. So didn't feel good about the spot with that situation. Do I think Puka should drop because of Stafford? I don't think so. I'm not sold they move on from Stafford. I know there's a lot of smoke. I just don't get why they would. Like I mean, granted, Stafford wasn't as good in games like that Philly game as you would think. Like, he actually wasn't the most efficient. Took a lot of bad sacks in that game. So the EPA numbers didn't look good for him. But, like, they were competitive in that Philly playoff spot. They beat some teams in the season. I don't know why you move on from Stafford unless he wants to move on. But that's basically how I feel about Stafford, is like, I think that he's still good enough. The Rams may be trying to do like kind of a midstream rebuild where they're good enough to win soon, but not win now. So maybe you downgrade a little bit of QB if you can get slightly younger. And if they were going to like get Stafford out in a trade and then get like a Darnold in, I think Tyler might've said that in the Discord. I think that would make sense. But otherwise, I don't know why you wouldn't bring Stafford back. The team's good enough to at least be competitive. And if injuries break your way, you're at least in the hunt for the playoffs and hopefully can do more. So I still would assume Stafford comes back, but who knows? A lot of smoke though for him leaving. So I got it. Your 2 RBs will be a common start for a lot of people this year, unfortunately. But it all comes down to how you handle it after that. Like, do you then slam wide receiver? Do you go a different direction? Still about the overall construct of the team, I would say, more than anything. But that's obviously a pivot for me in previous years where I was just happy to take 5 receivers in a row, 6 in a row, call it a day, and not take any more receivers. I just don't think the current ADP landscape is going to reward that quite as much. But I'm sure I'll still do it at some point this year. That's the name of the game. Anyway, guys, you get value out of this video, please do show some love. Subscribe down below with the like button. Leave a comment, of course, on a little bit of a less regular schedule right now. Hit the notification bell if you want to know I'm doing drafts. Hoping to ramp it up soon whenever we can get to terms with Underdog for the year, but it's taking longer than I'd like. That's just me being real with you, as I always do here, and that's what you're going to get no matter what here. You're going to get how I view things legitimately every single day on stream. So please subscribe down below with the like button. Leave a comment. Of course, make sure to join the new Discord down below as well. I should probably stop flashing the GIF at you. But join the new Discord. If you join down below for $4.99, you get added to that Discord. If you want my rankings, which will be coming out probably by this weekend, either version of it, you can have that for yourself with the different tiers on here. So there's now a Squirt Squad tier and a Squirt Squad VIP tier. So check it out. I probably am not doing a good enough job promoting it, but basically, if you want data from me, it's going to be how you get it moving forward. And of course, Underdog, promo code SPLASH, $1,000 in bonus cash. You join down below or use that promo code in Underdog. Check it out for yourself. Unabated, 20% off, promo code SPLASH. And Stochastic, 15% off, promo code Splash. All of them linked in the description down below, so check it out. All right, picks here. Great pocket again. Rashee Rice. Just can't make that click personally. DK Metcalf seems like part of the reason that Ryan Grubb got fired was his inability to get DK Metcalf going. Clint Kubiak didn't really get Olave going, but hopefully he can get Metcalf going in his new spot. So another receiver off the board, a Saquon, Bucky, Higgins, Metcalf start. We just got to get some volume in at receiver at this point. Did he give you an ad for Outback Steakhouse? I mean, I would love if they were a brand sponsor here. I've thought about getting Outback Steakhouse from DoorDash a couple times, but I'm like, am I gonna make the leap to this being the person I am? I prefer not. 0-2-2-0 build. Do you think we need to make it up at receiver a little bit more? Addison, I've not taken yet. I feel like the suspension is not really baked in, or potential suspension. Burrow, we have Higgins. I think we just do it. Not gonna be a lot of times I get Burrow this year, I think, but a 1-2-2 start here. Again, just building more balance this year. Burrow, Saquon, Bucky, Higgins, Metcalf is the build here. So a projectable start. All starters do expect at this point Higgins, with the franchise tag reports out there, to come back to Cincinnati. Kind of thought that was going to be the case no matter what. That's how it is anyway. Do you think we can catch up a wide receiver? But obviously, look, I'm doing the thing that I said people do. They make too many deviations, don't get enough wide receiver capital in. But frankly, at this point, once Sutton was gone, I think Sutton was a little bit of a tier break for me there. I like Sutton a lot as a pick here. Think he gets new money from Denver. Think he cements himself as a wide receiver one. And if not, he'll get traded somewhere else and he'll be there, wide receiver one most likely. So I think to me, Sutton is kind of a tier break. Even though Olave, I could move up into that tier as well, personally. Need help with the late round wide receivers. They seem brutal. They are. You should take. We talked about Slayton before. Take Slayton. He'll probably get a decent free agent outcome. Really not a lot late, but we can look at it later on. Bloomin' Onion is divine. That's true. Look, they make a decent steak. Obviously, it's not as good. If you go up the food chain, so to speak, you'll get better steaks. But some parts of the country, they only have like what? Longhorn Steakhouse and Texas Roadhouse and Outback. At that point, Outback's no worse, no better than anybody else. If you got like a Ruth's Chris, then that's better. Then if you get a Wolfgang's, who died recently, the guy behind Wolfgang's, if you've ever been to that steakhouse, one of my favorite, I think, in the country. Probably my favorite overall, if you ever go to New York, is Old Homestead in the Meatpacking District. I think that's old school steakhouse vibe. One of the better steaks I've ever had. We run the gamut, though. Sometimes you want an Outback steak. Sometimes you want fancy old murders were once talked about here steakhouse. It's the vibes. All right, let's give this team a read here. Let's recenter ourselves. 1-2-2-0 build. We got Joe Burrow, Saquon Barkley, Bucky Irving, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf. Obviously, have stacked up Cincy a little bit here. I did not get Jamar Chase with it, unfortunately. But we're already getting leverage on Jamar Chase, which frankly we saw be really important in the playoffs last year. So we can live with that. I've actually never been to a Capitol Grill. They were opening one in downtown LA after we left. They were opening one that was supposed to open pre-pandemic, and then the pandemic fucked it up, I think. Or they were off timeline and then it completely fucked it up. I've never been to one. The one I feel like the most overrated one, I think, was Smith and Walensky's to me in New York. And like that one I thought was pretty mid. Del Frisco's, I think, is a little bit overrated. But honestly, like, steak is steak. It's like pizza, sex, all the things. All the things that are like, hey, it's good enough, no matter what you're getting. Though a bad steak is honestly worse than bad pizza. Parallel to bad sex. Because bad steak, like my mom used to make really bad steak and bad sex. they're all terrible for now, but like she used to like always make steak well done. I didn't know I liked steak until I was in college because she would make well done steak. And like I legit like I thought steak was meant to be awful. Like I had no clue. She was like worried about passing like fucking poison on through the meat being undercooked or whatever 80s, 90s fear mongering they used to do for shit like that. So not ideal. All right. We're on the clock here. Debo likely getting traded. An option here. Juwan Jennings likely benefiting from Debo being traded. I'm going to go Juwan Jennings here. Gotten a little bit. Think that there's a pretty good case for him being the Niners' functional wide receiver 1 to start the year, assuming that the Niners move on from Debo. So I'll take a shot at him here. Our guy Charles is loading up at RBs. Debo at this point, not really a discount. Egbuka, okay. McMillan, okay. Could just take Ayuk and do the new Niners or the hopeful new Niners. Can we afford the injury risk on Ayuk and the fact that he sucked last year? I think we'll take the shot. So Brandon Ayuk here, 4th receiver. Feel like we needed a more safe, projectable receiver for wide receiver 4, which is why I was. But Egbuka's not really that guy. McMillan, if Godwin goes back, I feel like he comes down a little bit. So we're going to go with Ayuk here. If Ayuk's healthy, his ADP probably comes up. If Debo gets traded, Ayuk and Juwan Jennings probably both come up along with Pearsall. So that's a shot we're going to take here. It's a 1-2-4-0 build. We have Burrow, Saquon, Bucky, Higgins, Metcalf, Juwan Jennings, and Ayuk. Theoretically setting up for a Purdy stack here, though we don't have to do it that way if we don't want. We can just take the Niners pass game with a different QB. So I feel okay about this build. Don't know that we've made up enough at receiver, but I think a stack pairing there works pretty well. Myers? I'm not as big on Jacoby Myers. I think they're very live to be a Tet McMillan team if they don't go Genty. Dying of food poisoning is a fair price to pay for a perfectly bloody cut of steak. I would agree. And it's also like not really going to food poison you. Like as long as it's like been seared or whatever, like, I mean, raw, you can eat raw meat as long as it's prepared correctly. But yeah, that was one of those things, man, where like well done steak, I could never eat on a daily basis. Like that's one of my least favorite foods. And I would say again, worse than bad pizza, comparable to bad sex. Because bad sex is like, oh, I'm worried my dick's going to get broken. I think it's the same thing as a bad steak. Juwan Jeggings. Yeah, Juwan Jeggings looks good. Juwan Jeggings. Yeah, I was down on Jennings initially, just because like the Niners are a weird team to me to unpack still, but frankly, the price tag's being cheap enough here, 70-ish ADPs for all these guys. And again, if Debo gets moved, like Debo probably goes up, which maybe it should be the reason why I take Debo. But Debo probably goes up, Jennings goes up, Ayuk goes up, Pearsall goes up. I don't think it's baked into their ADPs enough right now. Which is going to be odd. I guess, does that mean all the Niners, assuming they don't add anybody else and Debo does leave, do the Niners get to like the 50s by BBM? Like Jennings had legit spike weeks last year. Was targeted better than Ayuk, was targeted better than Pearsall, was targeted better than Debo. I think what's holding him back right now is just the concern about, what the Niners offense looks like. Make a pork chop. Yeah, I mean, pork chops too. I mean, you don't want to make a medium rare, but you also don't want to overcook anything. Any overcooked meat is like one of the worst. Like tough meat, not for me. I feel like Debo and the Jets have been linked for enough years. That would make sense to me. Frankly, a team like Washington, we talked about, Godwin being one that's linked there a lot. Washington would make sense because they'd probably give him some run plays. They'd give him a lot of checkdowns. They'd run some screens to him. Kingsbury would love to use him as like a little bit of a vessel of pressure off of Jaden, I'm sure. But again, I don't think Washington makes a big trade like that. The Jets making that, I think, would be logical, even though how you pay more draft capital at this point for another vet, it's pretty tough. Shout out Tyler, gifted membership here. I appreciate it. Again, lots of new stuff going on here. New Discord. You still have your Deposit Game Discord channel as well, the Squirt Squad VIP channel, but now there'll be one where I can kind of put stuff out a little bit more easily, which is my goal at this point, is using the Discord to make life easier. Check it out. For some reason you never got in the Deposit Game Discord, you can do it. Oh, Adam, good. Well, get on the new Discord, Adam. Links in the description or in the top of the chat. Now you won't want to leave, Adam, now that you got a new Discord. I will try to have a slow ban trigger on the Discord, but I will ban people if they're fucking the worst. But I just know you're the worst. But I guess I know that Adam's already the worst. So you're starting from an unfair start in the race. You let me know if you guys want anything added to the Discord as well. Right now I have Underdog alerts on there in the main channels too. So hopefully trying to streamline some stuff, some info gathering things. I'll also probably make channels for when I do my news updates and things like that. So a lot more to come on the Discord. But basically, just like one channel for me wasn't cutting it. So kind of had to do something new there. We're on the clock here, 0250. I have been liking Ramondre in the spot. I'm going to get a share of Tyler Warren, though. Don't really have a lean on where he goes amongst this group, but do you think he grades out as the poorest man's version of Brock Bowers? And we can live with that at this point at tight end. Separate Lad McConkey channel. There you go. Trying to keep the channels lean to start, but I'm open to new ones, including Lad McConkey based ones. We got a 1-2-4-1 build here. Still think we need to make up a little bit more at receiver, but this pocket at receiver is not my fave. Pittman really flashed nothing last year. Do we just take the second QB and be done with it? Kind of think we do. All right, Brock Purdy, come on down. I like the Warren mystery box. I think there's enough steam for him going top 10 now, which is fucking insane. If Warren somehow goes above Brock Bowers' draft capital, like I think it speaks to the randomness of the NFL and how much it is more about the positional need for teams than it is like the player talent. But I would say that, like, to me, Tyler Warren, think my concern is that I watched the film and he looks a lot more like a Ben Sinnott than a Brock Bowers to me. But I think the numbers do look at Brock Bowersy enough that he should be the guy you take. Now, try to have the most confidence in. But the athletic profile, like the RAS testing, is not fantastic. He probably does come down a little bit. But, you know, you're talking about for Tyler Warren, 32% target route run rate, 0.43 EPA per target. And that's with a really low ADOT, 6.5 intended air yards per attempt. So we did the main thing, which has been my rookie observation. I talked about in one of the first videos we did this year. Like the biggest thing that I think was a flaw in my process last year, are guys that underperformed really the last couple years, have been the guys that got more air yards than they have actualized yards. If a guy gets less air yards and does more with it, in terms of what he puts in terms of his like receiving output, that guy's gonna be more equipped to step into a situation and do well. And that's guys like Brock Bowers. Last year, it's guys like Malik Neighbors. Even though he was an insane player at LSU, he actually had less air yards than he had realized yards. He took what he had and did well with it. Brian Thomas is pretty much 1-to-1 in air yards versus actualized yards. That's what we're looking for here. And Warren doing a lot with a little. Kind of what you're looking for. For your mental health, you need Bowers to stop being. I say that they're different, but looking at the numbers and how it is, like, again, Warren, 32% target route run his last year in college. Bowers, 32% flat, actually a little bit lower than Warren technically. Bowers that have a higher EPA at 0.52 compared to Warren at 0.43, but you're kind of splitting hairs there a little bit. Brock Bowers, higher avoided tackle rate at 32% compared to 22. So better yards after catch guy. Exact same air yards per attempt, 6.5 per attempt for Bowers, 6.5 per attempt for Warren. Deep ball, I think, benefits Bowers by a little bit, 0.59 EPA on deep targets compared to 0.41 for Warren. Actually, Warren weaker by a little bit at every part of the field. Throws under 10 air yards. He has a lower EPA than Bowers, but that's fine. Like the point is, like, Bowers is so good that Warren can be 90% of Bowers, 80% of Bowers, and he's still probably pretty good and going to get the draft capital to back it out. So I think that's the Warren case. It's not that he's Brock Bowers, that he's close enough to Brock Bowers that you're probably undervaluing him right now, which sucks. Cause like, I don't love taking him at 95, but frankly, like I got a little bit sticker shock with Bowers last year when he started to surge up, when he was initially going like the 110s, then started to get more reliably at the 100s and the 90s and the 80s. Team is, I think, you know, that you want to take him. That you want to take him now for Tyler Warren. Especially guys like Daniel Jeremiah mocking them in the top 7 or whatever, top 6. It's going to get steamed. Trevor Lawrence at 114 here. Is that a reach? I think that was, right? Yeah, 15 pick reach, 14 pick reach for Trevor Lawrence, which is fair. T-Law is going to come back to his old price tag pretty soon, which I don't think is fair, but that's where it's going to go. Team is secretly slapping right now. I hope so. I got to still make it up at receiver, I think. 2241 here. Yeah, there you go. Brett knew. 2241 here. I mean, Trey Harris, I do like, and he is here. Yeah, I think it's Trey Harris. Trey Harris is my favorite rookie receiver analytically. I don't think he gets as good of a draft capital as a guy like Tet McMillan. I feel a lot more comfortable taking Tet McMillan, but I still think Trey Harris is talented and did a lot with the opportunity he had last year. So if you missed my Trey Harris spiel in the past, basically 0.64 EPA per target, which is crazy high, 113 air yards per game, tournament to 129 actual yards. He was very good. So that's really my Trey Harris quick one here. He's going to be a slower guy in the 4.5s, but still should be a guy that matters for me. Anyway, Scattaboo Neal at RB. Would have taken Tank with one of them. I haven't gotten Scattaboo because I do worry about the draft capital. And I'm not going to do it here. I'm going to take Tucker Kraft if that clicked. Okay, fucking Christ. Tucker Kraft, tight end. We got our second tight end. A little more projectable than Tyler Warren. So we have a Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy start here with Saquon Barkley, Bucky Irving. We have not taken another RB yet, which is going to make it tough. Wanted one there, but just didn't make sense. Adam, it's literally pinned in the chat today. It's the, I'm pretty sure I pinned it up top. It's also linked in the description as well. And where was I reading it? T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Juwan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, Trey Harris, and a tight end, Tyler Warren and Tucker Kraft. So we've got 2 reasonable tight ends here. I've given you your Tyler Warren case. Tucker Kraft, to me, look, I was a Musgrave guy for the past 2 years. Didn't take as much Musgrave last year because thought there were better tight ends, frankly, around his ADP, but still wanted him to do well with it. That said, I think Tucker Kraft has passed him. I think what we saw last year with him turning, again, very little into a lot. Low ADOT kind of targets, a lot of yak stuff for Tucker Kraft. Think he looks pretty good to me at the 122 range, especially given the fact that they don't add another meaningful receiver in. You're looking at a worse version of last year's receiver core, which will give those guys more opportunity, but I think Tucker Kraft wins some more target share amidst that. Kraft last year finished with a 0.35 EPA per target, which is pretty good for a tight end. Only a 19% target per out run rate. That could certainly be better. 4.2 targets a game, but high EPA. Played a bunch of snaps per game, 54 snaps per game. I think Tucker Kraft is your guy in Green Bay. I don't know what is. It's not that complicated. If you have, as long as your Discord is synced to your YouTube, it should be good. But I don't know how to troubleshoot more than that. Let's see. Checking the server alerts on the Discord. See, we got 5 new people in, guys. Shouts to all the paying members coming in. And then Adam, it looks like joined, but you didn't sync your YouTube to your Discord. So Adam, make sure to sync your YouTube in. I see your membership. You're not the same color as everybody else, which is a funny way to say it. But basically the roles here, you're yellow if you're subscribed to the NFL channel. And I think you're splash play blue if you're subscribed to the NBA channel. And your name is white. So that's what I'm seeing. But I hope that helps. Yeah, that kind of VIP service is what you get, guys. If you join that Discord, join down below, $4.99. You'll get added in. Al locked up the Cowboys back. What, Genty and Dowdle? Again, I think Tyler is right that it seems like if you keep it white, you don't get access to the channels. That's why you got to connect your stuff. Basically, you can join the Discord as it is without having a YouTube membership, but then you just get blocked and you don't get. I thought that was the best way to do it. I don't know. I think that's how you're supposed to do it. But anyway, Cowboys taking Genty at 12 would honestly be a pretty bad usage of draft capital. with what they have in terms of picks this year. But Tyler tweeted it out. I think it's worth taking a look. Tyler's done a good job on Twitter. I have to give him credit. I don't like. I'm really trying to phase myself off of Twitter a little bit because like I just don't feel comfortable with frankly what I get fed on there. Like more racist shit per capita get on your For You page than anything else, and like legit racist stuff like black people shouldn't be breeding with white people stuff. I'm getting on my For You page lately, and I'm like I don't need this. Like, I mean, and I'm laughing at it, but it's like that's so uncomfortable for me to get. So I just fucking am not looking much on Twitter. Tyler though is posted a lot of good tweets, so I have to give him credit. Now sometimes I do promote Tyler a lot here because he has always been great to me in this channel. But really, if you want somebody to keep you in the loop here during the off season and you don't want to join the Discord, just follow Emo Cowboy on Twitter. I'll do a good job for you. 2252 build here. We need some RBs desperately who actually have some upside. Trey Benson at this point still doesn't feel like he gives us a lot in terms of projection, but does give us a contingent value play on Connor and a real role there. So let's go Trey Benson for this one. See what Go AZ Cards here does, what old Charles does. I mean, I think we could do a couple different things here, so I'm not too worried about it at this point. I think we'll get one of the RBs I was looking at anyway. My draft rooms were filled with Twitter screenshots. My EV would be sure. Yeah, Twitter screenshots also. I'm honestly not even getting that shit. I'm just getting like the doom scrolling stuff on Twitter, which is just like, it makes me really uncomfortable with what people post on there. Just like people are just fucking unchained on Twitter these days in a way that's like the worst of humanity. Anyway, that's why I don't tweet right now currently, guys. I actually got rid of my blue check for the first time ever. 2352 here. Getting Rachaad White and covering the entire Tampa Bay backfield doesn't feel insane to me. Going Jerome Ford here would also be okay. I mean, look, I'm okay taking more of a full backfield this year. I do worry about Rachaad White and how he got completely ramped down for Bucky down the home stretch, but frankly, I think he can get cut and go somewhere else. I think he'd still get goal line work this year / pass down work because you have to keep Bucky fresh. Even though you want to give him more than like the 45% snap share he had last year, you're probably not giving him more than 65, I would think. So there's room in there for Rachaad White to be useful, and the contingent value for both these guys is pretty high. So we got Trey Benson and Rachaad White. Let's give the full team a read here. It's a 2-4-5-2. Basically went early by modal RB with Saquon and Bucky Irving, so we kind of had to be a little bit unique around that, especially the premium pivot early on for Joe Burrow. Brock Purdy, he and Burrow are my QBs right now. We got Saquon, Bucky, Trey Benson, Rachaad White as our RBs, so the full theoretical Bucs backfield. Higgins, Metcalf, Juwan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, Trey Harris, and a tight end, Tyler Warren and Tucker Kraft. And really the main thing for me with Rachaad White is if the Bucs moved on, go with Sean Tucker, fine. Then I get a young RB going somewhere else as probably a pass down guy / maybe a power back. And if he goes back to the Bucs, they probably could fall in love with him again because they're fucking stupid. That's how that feels. You get Fields again. Yeah, Fields popular QB option for the QB list at this point. Got to keep in mind, though, Pittsburgh is kicking the tires on other QBs, or at least trying to. And I don't think there's a guarantee that Fields is your starter for Pittsburgh, even though he probably will end up being the best possible option for him. Russ, I don't know what Russ is going to do at this point because Russ is also still trying to get himself the Pittsburgh job, but it seems unlikely that they both come back. I don't know. Dylan Sampson, will highlight him here. He and Ollie Gordon. I know Chunk the Deuce has a bias towards Ollie Gordon because he was once good in college football DFS. Dylan Sampson, another guy as well that I don't think is a fantastic pick. Fast runner, very similar to Jalen Wright in terms of getting like a lot of his production kind of bullshit plays for Tennessee last year, where there's like 4 offensive linemen because they spread out 5 receivers very far away from the line of scrimmage. That's kind of the Tennessee offense. So like Gordon, to me, screams Tank Bigsby type. I would say maybe a little bit more juice, but even that didn't grade out that much better analytically. Dylan Sampson going to be fast, so maybe gets you some good draft capital, but in reality just didn't produce much better than Jalen Wright did. So I don't know. Just not in love with the guys right here, the rookie guys right here. Blake Corum as well. I mean, he's your same bet as Trey Benson, just contingent value. Not really planning on it, but it's very similar to NFL, which I did have some success with this year. So I don't know. Would probably not. There's only so much time in a day. If Underdog were like, and I would like Underdog to do more basketball content on the NBA channel, but if they were doing that, I would be happy to do it. But like, I think for me, it's probably a little more bandwidth. Playing NBA DFS every day just takes up a lot of basketball brain. I don't know why it's not working. You sure it's the same YouTube chat? Like, it should be pretty straightforward. Under your connections, I don't know. Give a lot of I don't knows here, but I don't know. All right. Shout out the chat. See some chats going to the new Discord. Glad you guys are getting in there and it works. It's being dumb. Well, there you go. Yeah, I don't know. It does add autumn. Actually, let me see if I can look at your user shit. Because I have to figure out how to do this anyway, right? Server settings. I probably don't know how to do this on stream. Members. Not Adam. Yeah, you don't have a role showing. Let me make a pick here. All right, so we got Garendo here for our contingent value and a bet on the Niners. As I've said, though, I do like Wicks a lot. So Wicks I'm going to take here to kind of shore us up at receiver. Only got 5 receivers in at this point. Number 6 is going to be Dontavian Wicks. And again, the big hope for him is at this point, number 1, he was one of the first guys to be kind of chippy about Josh Jacobs demanding they bring in a number 1 receiver for Green Bay. Put out the thumbs down, laughing, crying emojis or whatever he put out. Wasn't happy about Jacobs throwing him under the bus there. So I think Wicks, to me, also has been the big beneficiary of Watson being out. If Green Bay doesn't add somebody meaningful, like Wicks is your big winner from losing Watson for the year. I feel like more contingent value at RB feels kind of tough to go Garendo here. Braylon Allen. Ambiguous backfield there. Mari Cooper, free agent outcome. I'm going to go Garendo because we have the correlation. And I think he's a good 5th RB. At this point, we're really hoping Saquon and Bucky carry the weight. If Bucky gets hurt, we're hoping White comes in. And I think Garendo is giving us something on top. But really, Saquon's got to do the work for us here, which is, I think, how you have to play it, unfortunately, when you waste that high of a draft capital on an RB. So we got Burrow, Purdy here as our QBs. Saquon, Bucky, Trey Benson, Rashad White, Isaac Garendo as our RBs right now. Wide receiver, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Juwan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, so the Niners double. Trey Harris, who is one of my favorite rookie receivers, even though I'm not sure the draft capital will be there enough for him. Dontavian Wicks, who is way too cheap at this point. People got burned by him. He probably should be going where he was going last year at this point. Tyler Warren, Tucker Kraft, and a nice mini stack. That's a good point. A little Green Bay mini stack. So we're correlated. The team works. It's not the teams that we built in previous seasons. It's really it. Anyway, all right. Oh, I can't manually give Adam the YouTube role either. Well, if you can't figure it out, Adam, I'll make another role for people that are too dumb to figure out the YouTube. I'll do that for you, but let me know. Anyway, it's normally pretty easy. That's the main thing. But yeah, join down below, 499 Discord. We'll do the plugs one more time. Promo code SPLASH Underdog, $1,000 in bonus cash if you sign up on there. If you're watching this stream, you're probably already on the site. But if you're not, please do deposit, check it out, because I fucking need Underdog to pay me money. And they're taking a long time to get back to me and pay me money. They're too busy, again, paying everybody else I used to work with at Barstools. And also like fucking Theo Vaughn and they're paying everybody in the world who's not me right now, is how it feels like. But that's the name of the game, unfortunately. Unabated, 20% off. Promo code SPLASH right now. New deposit, or not new deposit deal. A new savings deal on there. New discount deal on Unabated. 20% off on Unabated. So check it out. Promo code SPLASH on there. And Stochastic. All the links that are in the description with 15% off on Stochastic. Get into NBA with me coming up here as well. All right. The only thing I can think of is like you're syncing a different YouTube channel somehow, but I don't know. Like, it's hard to tell without seeing it. As a bonus, boner cash never goes away. No, it's going away for me. I can't get it up until Underdog finally pays me. But yeah, Just fucking, I really, really thought we'd be done like a month ago. Because I reached out early and I'm like, all right, let's get this done so it can be aligned and I can announce stuff. Because I hate like the one thing that's the hardest, I think, as a content creator, especially if you're not tweeting 24 hours a day, is like just announcing to people like, oh, here's what I'm doing for the year. So I'd like to announce like, hey, I'm doing this 7 days a week of drafts, 5 days a week of drafts, whatever. Instead, it's like we're just in no man's land. So for right now, make sure to hit the notification bell, when I go live for stuff. It's probably the only big board stream for this week. Unless I get frisky on Friday or something. But it's how we're looking right now, guys. This is like a show about a show at this point. Not even talking fantasy football content. Talking about my underdog deals. Talking about people being bad drafters. Giving no real answers for it. All right. Picks coming up here. 2-5-6-2 build. We still need more at receiver. Yoshevich is going to get squeezed by somebody here. I just don't love that as a pick. I think we're going to get Gesicki here just because I really don't need Yoshevich. And I do like Gesicki enough to be a tight end 3 in this build. Because we don't know how Tyler Warren's going to start. Could be a slower ramp up. Even Brock Bowers didn't start full feet to the throttle. I was on Jackson Dart before anybody, but you should take him in the 16th round. There's no reason to do that right now. Not enough for read on where he's going to go. Okay, we got Yoshevich here. I feel like at this point, your Yoshevich out is like Higgins being traded and them doing nothing. Just don't love Yoshevich. I think Wandale's got more utility here. I'm going to go Wandale. Really just never a big Yoshevich guy, and I think we saw our best Yoshevich year last year. I'm not sure how it gets better for him. So we're going to do that for our 7th wide receiver. We got Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy, Saquon Barkley, Bucky Irving, Trey Benson, Rashad White, Isaac Guerendo. Obviously really hoping the top 2 carry a lot. And that Benson and Rashad White and Guerendo carve out some kind of roles for themselves. Higgins, Metcalf, Juwan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, Trey Harris, Dontavian Wicks, and Wan'Dale Robinson. I feel a lot better about the late wide receiver start here because I think we got good guys late who have real roles, who are probably getting better offensive situations. For Wan'Dale Robinson, better QB. For Wicks, just less competition with Watson gone. So I feel pretty good about that. And at tight end, we have Tyler Warren, Tucker Kraft, Mike Gesicki. So definitely done there. Yeah, I thought you might do something stupid that would fuck me up. So I wanted to get more for my Bengals stack. But I do think Gesicki goes back to Cincinnati. Still Savion over Besh. That's my gritty take from watching too much TCU. Savion's more of a legit NFL size guy, but Besh really outperformed him and everybody else the Senior Bowl, and analytically looks infinitely better. I think they have similar. They should go in the same spot ADP wise because their reason for being good is different but equally credible. Besh is actually a good receiver. Savion Williams like a big guy that players will like more, or teams will like more as a potential player rather. But I think Besh is the better player. Savion is QJ. The numbers look a little different. He doesn't do much after the catch in terms of avoided tackle stuff. Like QJ has like a 33% avoided tackle rate guy. Savion's at 22. And frankly, QJ had a better EPA per target. But Savion's technically a better target earner. That's that. You're on Blue Sky and had to dual. Oh, there you go. Hey, no, look, I appreciate it, man. You can tell who works hard at the stuff, and Tyler definitely works hard at accumulating as much info as possible and having a good read on it. And that is really, it sucks because like people just want easy player takes and like this rookie's good, this rookie's not good. Your biggest advantage at this point in drafting is really like reading team tea leaves better, knowing who's going to do what, closing the loops as you can. Like, oh, the Jets aren't going to have Rodgers back. Great. Now I know to not draft Rodgers with my Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams if you're doing that. Just trying to do that stuff more. And that's what I think Tyler does a really good job with, is trying to read the tea leaves better than most people out there. Savion had the dropsies. I mean, look, he just wasn't very good in the numbers, but did command targets. So that's something. Checking the chats here. All right. Nothing else too good here. Jordan James gets drafted again. Am I missing something with Jordan James? I feel like I'd be more predisposed to like a Jordan James because of my Bucky bias. I also have to take Nicholas Singleton off the sheet, unfortunately. All right, let's see. Jordan James. Yeah, 22% avoided tackle rate, so he's definitely not Bucky there. 0.17 EPA per rush is pretty good. Only stuffed 12% of the time. 2.7 yards after contact, not very good. 27% avoided tackle rate on pass play is also not Bucky-esque. Yeah, he doesn't look like he has the juice as Bucky, which is, I thought, how I had filed him away. But I keep seeing him get drafted, so got to take another look. Be a Bucky for comparison. Bucky had a 34% avoided tackle rate, 38% on avoided tackle rate on pass plays. Like, he had all the juice in the world, and that is what made him good. There are only a couple of RBs in this class that have like a Bucky level avoided tackle rate, and that's Genty, that's Scadaboo. Jonah Coleman is close. Everybody else is just kind of a straight line dude without a lot of wiggle. All right, we got a 2-5-7-3 build here. These are the clicks people don't want to make, but a 20-pick discount on Nick Chubb coming off of a year of injury. He is a proven power back. He wants to go back to Cleveland, which I actually don't think is the best outcome for him. I think he'd be better off going somewhere else that needs that complementary piece. I think he can get that. So Chubb is going to be one more RB here at 6 for me. I think we could do an 8th receiver, but I don't know that we have to do it right now. I think Estime would be okay here. People always ask me about Woody Marks because he was a USC guy. He's legit the definition of just a player, just a guy at RB. We're going to go Estime here. We took a McLaughlin spin last time out. We'll go Estime. So a 2-7-7-3 build here with Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy, one more pick left to go. Saquon Barkley, Bucky Irving, Trey Benson, Rashad White, Isaac Guerrero, Nick Chubb, and Audric Estime. So made it up in volume here. Again, really hoping Barkley and Bucky carry the water here primarily, but adding some late volume on. All my RBs coming after pick 140. I think if you're going to have that much volume, that'd be the way to do it roughly. Wide receiver, I have T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Juwan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, Trey Harris, Dontavian Wicks, and Wan'Dale Robinson. And a tight end, Tyler Warren, Tucker Kraft, and Mike Gesicki. Obviously hoping Gesicki comes back to Cincinnati, but if not, probably went somewhere else that valued him, I would guess. If I'm Gesicki, I'm absolutely not leaving Cincinnati, given that I've tried so many different places to treat me and give me targets and give me some opportunity, and he finally got it. I would think he wants to come back to Cincinnati as well. You say the rookie's name in Al Michaels' voice and see how it sounds. If it sounds cool, they will be good. Yeah, that's certainly how that works. Kal Mullings, who I'm not sure if Pete made it a thing, but I drafted him on his one big board stream there. But Kal Mullings, to me, also not really a guy you care too much about. Certainly does exist. Let's see. Let's look at his numbers. 0.1 EPA per rush, not very good. 5 yards per rush is okay. Didn't get enough volume, though, to qualify overall. In the red zone, he got 3.6 rushes a game. Yeah, I don't know why Kal Mullings really matters. Really think the biggest thing you could do for yourself in any sort of rookie process is like only take the absolute outliers. Like who hit last year that mattered? Your fucking insane, crazy good picks. Your Brock Bowerses, your Jadens, your Bucky Irvings, your Brian Thomases, your Malik Neighbors hit. And even then, I could tell he has a lot of neighbors. He didn't hit enough throughout the entire year. You had like legit great players. It wasn't your Xavier Leggett's coming in year one. And even though like he got drafted first round, like he wasn't that good enough to get there. Ladd got there, but as a first round pick who had crazy athletic testing, and also still some good underlying numbers, even if the volume stats weren't there as good in college. The guys who hit were great. So I don't know. Chunk asking Dotson or Kyle Williams. People do like Kyle Williams. Tyler actually likes Kyle Williams a lot. Kyle Williams, people mention a lot in terms of their early draft stuff. I don't think he gets enough draft capital. He does grade out okay as a 0.46 EPA per target guy, but was better in the slot than out wide. Also didn't do too well, 10 to 20 air yards, didn't get targeted very much, at a negative 0.4 EPA there. He's a guy, also not a great target earner, 26% TPRR. I know I said TPR, target per out run. But people do like Kyle Williams a little bit. I just think he's more your Roman Wilson type. Or like, I think he'll get drafted. I think that I get why people think he looks okay. Just not sure that he's like actually good. But again, that's really the thing is like to be a year one rookie that hits is like you have to be great. It's you have to be great or you have to get the ultimate run out in terms of a situational opportunity. And then, for the most part, like guys are going to be better year 2, year 3. That's what we've seen from enough backs. Tank Bigsby, Kyron Williams, those being 2 of your best examples lately. Quentin Johnson at wide receiver would be another one. Like for year 1 guys to hit, like they should be the nuts. And I think people are just taking guys because they're a new name. Like none of these RBs taken here. Jordan James, Rashard Smith, Dean Martinez I like, but he's got very little juice, just more of a power back. Woody Marks, Khalil Mullings, LaQuint Allen, Rocket Sanders, Raheem Sanders. None of them are actually good. Like none of them are like good enough to step on the field and like get reps from day one. And I think that's an important distinction that people are not grasping overall on the big board. Let's get one more receiver in here. Darius Slayton, we've talked a lot about. Is there anybody else that's sneaky? Parker Washington, vaguely sneaky. Jermaine Burton's probably out of the league, would be my thought with the quotes they've given him. So we're not going to take Burton. We'll go Darius Slayton here. Again, we've talked a lot about him. I think he gets a good free agent outcome. 2783 build here is our final one. We got Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy, Saquon Barkley, Bucky Irving, Trey Benson, Rashad White, Isaac Arendo, Nick Chubb, Audric Estime. Wide receiver, we have T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Juwan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, Trey Harris, Dontavian Wicks, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Darius Slayton, reuniting the Giants pass game core from last year that isn't Malik Neighbors. How could that possibly go wrong? Tyler Warren, Tucker Kraft, and Mike Gesicki here. So I think we got there for volume at wide receiver. I think we got, week 17 Slay. We got that. That we made it up okay. I think Burton would rather abuse a partner than play football. That's what it sounds like. Got the volume at RB, even though we have our 2 bimodal guys. I think this build works for me. I would have loved a little more talent at receiver, like one true apex predator, but maybe you don't need it. That's, I think, what unfortunately we learned last year. But that's it for now, guys. Make sure to go join down below if you want to be a part of the new Splash Play Discord. I still have the old one there. Your deposit payment version of it will still exist, but now there'll be a new one where I can put out more data there. And obviously, it's all my stuff, so you get kind of a more curated Splash Play experience there for the NFL and NBA. So join down below for $4.99, and then you can join the Discord. All the details in the descriptions. Check it out. It's a lot easier than it might have seemed when Adam was doing it earlier in the video. Make sure to subscribe down below, guys, as well. It does go a long way for me here. Of course, check out the various sponsors. You got Underdog. $1,000 of bonus cash, promo code SPLASH on there. Unabated, 20% off now at Unabated, promo code SPLASH. Link in the description, of course, check it out. And Stochastic, 15% off, promo code SPLASH on there for all their data, all their tools. You get it for yourself at Stochastic. Play some NBA DFS, play some MMA, PGA, whatever you want out there. Stochastic has the tools and data for you. So check it out. Shout out to all the paying members. There's probably a few new ones here I didn't update. The one thing I didn't update, but I'll make sure to do it. Shout out to all of them. They've all joined down below. And if you're on this list, make sure to join the Discord, guys. It is a brand new Discord on there, and it'll be basically the main way to communicate with me moving forward. So check it out. Make sure to sync your stuff up. Gamble responsibly. It's always money time here. There we go. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play Pod, and I'll be back soon with more, guys. So hit the notification bell. NBA, no video today because there's not games, only one game today. We'll be back tomorrow for NBA on the NBA channel, so check that out. See you guys again soon. Hit me up on the Discord. Enjoy your day, guys, and good luck. Bye-bye.